beautiful muses, and welcome back to Cosmo Muse Tarot. Today I have a new reading in mind that I am considering making a regular type of feature depending on how it's received, and one that I might pop in as an extra reading here and there above my typical Monday reading that I put up. Whatever, I kind of vacillate what I put up on the Mondays, whatever reading kind of comes to me, but this is a regular one that I'm hoping to keep sort of short and sweet, and if you guys really like it, something that I can sort of add into the mix as extras, every couple weeks, doing one of these types of readings. And the premise of this is to just whatever is on your mind. Maybe there's a project, a relationship, a job, you're house hunting, whatever it is, thinking of having a baby, whatever it is, like think of some sort of matter that's really on your mind. And you're going to choose which tarot deck is calling out to you. And with that tarot deck, I'm going to use the Ace of Cups from that deck as representing that matter. Sort of the heart of the matter is sort of what I had in mind using the Ace of Cups. And then I am going to randomly pick 11 other cards with it and shuffle those and kind of see where that ace comes out, kind of showing where it is in a life cycle of something and what are the other cards sort of surrounding it. And then I'm going to do a major arcana card from a deck that only has major arcana cards. It's really beautiful. A Spanish artist did that. Might show some sort of overarching energy around this matter. And then we'll also draw like a little wisdom card from Spirit to just give you a little advice as well. So I have 4 different tarot decks here with stones. So, and whichever one you choose is the tarot deck that will be used in your reading. So here we've got the Field Tarot with Carnelian. And I've put the Ace of Cups at the top of each of these. So this is the Ace of Cups in this deck. Maybe I'll keep that flipped over for you guys. This deck is the Animal Tarot with a turquoise stone. This is the Ace of Cups in this deck with a little otter. This is the Golden Lyre Tarot with just a clear crystal quartz. And this is the Ace of Cups in this tarot deck. And then a Lapis Lazuli for pile number 4. And this is the Ghost of Hilma Tarot, using artwork from Hilma A.F. Klimt as the inspiration for each card in this deck. Okay, so fill into which tarot deck, which Ace of Cups, or which stone, whatever it is that grabs at you and pulls you into that pile. So I'm going to aid you in a little breathing exercise to help open you up to higher self, as well as some inspiration from higher energies. So take a deep breath in and hold at the top between your brows. If you want to close your eyes, you're welcome to do so. And then exhale with a big ah, opening the crown chakra. And feel free to take a couple of those if you really want to center, and pause here if you need a little extra time with the cards and stones and decks to see which pile is drawing you in. Again, pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4. Okay, there are timestamps down in the description so you can jump straight to your pile, and I will see you in your readings. Hello, pile 1, and welcome to your reading, sort of looking at the heart of some sort of matter in your life that's on your mind, and that's up to you to decide what that is. And so you can pertain that to this reading. I have already kind of shuffled the cards from your tarot deck, the Fields Tarot. The Ace of Cups is the card we're looking for to see where it comes out in these 12 cards, and that will indicate kind of where in a life cycle this matter is, what cards are kind of around it. So where that, if you were to look at this as like a hero's journey or just some sort of journey, like where in the, what stage of the journey is this matter in, and so what can we glean from that, looking at the cards surrounding it and the positions that it's in. But before we dive into that, I'm going to pick one major arcana card from this beautiful Spanish major arcana deck by a Spanish artist, and I don't believe it's available anymore. I got it on a Kickstarter. But I don't know, you could try and hunt it down and see. I really love it. But we're going to see which major arcana card is sort of giving a general overtone impression of what's going on with this matter. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune for you guys. So you may be waiting for some sort of like change to happen in your life. There might be something that's either feeling stagnant, or you are anticipating some big moment in your life that is going to push you into some kind of different cycle. So we'll see where the Ace of Cups is, and that will show us maybe how far we are to, there's different points in these 12 cards. I'm kind of using the astrological houses, the 12 houses, as the template for this, and there's certain points within those 12 that do indicate turning points. So there's not just one turning point in the 12, there's actually 4 places where a turning point might happen. So we'll see, maybe your card is like at that, so maybe you are going through the turning point, or maybe you're 1 or 2 places away from that, and which turning point are you on or close to kind of get a little bit more into that. Okay, so I've already shuffled these, picked out the 12, shuffled them. I don't know what order they're in, so we're just going to kind of see what happens here. Okay, so the 3rd position is where your card is. It's fairly early in this journey, which may please you or not. Who knows? That might feel accurate. That might feel good. That might frustrate you. That will totally depend on each of you. And let's see, I need to push all of these up a little bit so I can get everything in. There we go. Okay. So my inclination around this change in this turning point that is either being anticipated or that is just coming whether you want it or not, is that being fairly early in this, I think this is revolving around something intellectual, something very mind-centered. There might be several people involved, or these people, the Princess of Swords and the King of Swords, may represent aspects of yourself. But if there's a very sharp youngish, feminine type person in your life. They may be at the impulse of what's going on here, or this could represent you coming in with like a really new, fresh kind of idea that you're really wanting to mature and develop. This King of Swords could represent a partner or an authority figure, or it might represent you, whatever it represents. As an individual, a person in this scenario, you're coming from the step that you're just coming from and into where you are now is you've gotten, I think, a lot of wise guidance, wise thoughts, wise information, or else you feel like you've really downloaded some information yourself that's made you feel very solid and sure and in control of where this matter is going. And yeah, like a real strong surety or a real strong support from someone that gives stability to this. The phase you are currently in with this matter, though, is very shallow, which I don't want you to take that in a negative connotation. It's sort of like a late spring feeling where the birds and the bees are pollinating things and just trying to spread ideas, gather information. So you may be learning something, you may be trying to figure out where you or this matter belongs, where its neighborhood is, where its belonging is, where its industry is, where its niche is, where its person is, whatever it is to you. There's a sense of belonging that's trying to be found. And in order to do that, you're just like, there's a sense of identity around this that's needing to be established and figured out a little more. And the way to do that is to be a little bit shallow, to go into a store and try on 50 outfits as a metaphor for whatever you're doing, to try things on, experiment. Don't make any hardcore commitments right now because you're flirting with things. You're seeing what works. You're gathering a bit from here and a bit from here and a bit from there, and really trying to figure out how you're getting some kind of tension within this to start communicating better, to start melding better, in order to figure out that belonging and where this matter really finds its stability, where it wants to commit and put some roots down and start maturing. But before you can mature something, you really need to understand what it is and where it belongs and what it's doing. So like, you know, for a lot of you, this may be around branding, or for some of you, if you're younger, it may be around, you know, who's my peer group, or what university should I go to, or if you're older, it might be maybe you're moving and you're really struggling to figure out which neighborhood is right for you, and that might mean that you need to go to the different restaurants in all the different neighborhoods and the gas stations and check out the schools and really gather the information you need to feel like you have a complete understanding of each of these pods, each of, you know, whatever is you're exploring. So you are very close to this next step, which is kind of committing to something, putting down some roots, ready to mature something and focus a little bit more and find the depth and soulfulness and matter in something. And what's indicated in the step coming that is going to put you into that shift, that change in season per se, is that there is sort of some big responsibilities you're going to need to juggle, and that might be why you really need to make sure where you're aligned, where a belonging is, where all the, you know, understanding all the information about something, because you're really going to step into a role where you're needing to establish your authority or stand in your authority in something. And, so for some of you that might sound exciting in what you're actually looking to do for others. If that sounds scary to you, that means you maybe have a little bit of a further journey in the position you're in right now to really be excited about committing to something and strengthening yourself in something. But there is that next step where you really deepen into something. You're really going to be holding some stuff on your shoulders and really placing yourself in a position of authority where you're kind of juggling some things. So just a glance at where this might be going. I do love looking at maybe the 10th card because that shows the ultimate manifestation of something. And we've got Prince of Wands here with instigation, but the Wands suit is about passion. It's about creativity, projects, a wildness in life, and the Prince tends to like to expand things, be bold, push the boundaries of something. So this may be, even though it might have started out in an idea form and really in a heady place, ultimately the manifestation of this, if you stick with it, is leading to a lot of adventure, a lot of passion, and a lot of creative flair, if you will. And there's some other great cards coming through here. I don't really see any cards that alarm me in terms of like where this could be going that I want to really spend time on. I think a really beautiful one sticking out to me is the Sun in the 6th position. So what this will end up integrating in terms of its day-to-day connection to your life and how it weaves into becoming part of your lifestyle is going to feel really exciting and fun and joyful and maybe even a little bit luxurious and very aligned to you, which is really great. But yeah, overall, just some good cards in this. So I think that whatever this is, even though you're in an early stage, it feels like you're on the right track to, to have a beautiful adventure with whatever this is, and to even find in terms of like breaking out of the mold of who you are when you really, if this is something that's quick paced, you may get here sooner than some others, but if this is something that's like a 10-year potential trajectory, maybe longer to get here. But this 11th card also is sticking out to me for whatever reason, that you're going to expand into a sense of your originality and uniqueness with a real deep sense of power around what your worth is, what your value is, and having a lot of just power around the material realm in a way that maybe you had restricted yourself from or not seen about yourself. You're really breaking free into understanding how to feel powerful in the material aspect of life. So that's a beautiful thing that will come much later in this journey, but could be a focus thing to motivate you if you're frustrated by how early on you are in this. But I think for most of you, this will probably resonate and make sense and make you feel good about where you are, hopefully. Okay, so the last thing I want to do here, is just pull a quick little oracle card for some guidance around this point where you're currently at. Let's take this top card. The Osprey. Your success is now at hand. Allow the abundance to flow to you effortlessly. Well, that's beautiful. So maybe you guys really are getting much closer to this next step that is going to be sort of a change in tone, a turning of the will, if you will. And there's definitely some beautiful cards. We've got some Four of Discs, Eight of Discs, Ace of Discs, Two of Discs. To me, because the Two of Discs comes next, this is saying that you're really like very, very close to stepping into this next step where you're deepening into some sort of material understanding and responsibility and juggling that does produce, some material rewards with it. So beautiful reading. All right, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Definitely hit the thumbs up if this resonated. I love little comments. And of course, if you are not subscribed, please do so. All right, see you guys. Hello, Pile 2, and welcome to your reading where we're going to look at some sort of matter in your life and look into where it is in a life cycle, or if you were to map this onto like a hero's journey or something, like what stage of the journey are you in? So we're using the Ace of Cups to indicate that heart of the matter, whatever the matter is to you. So that's up to you guys to decide what this reading is pertaining to in your life. It can be really anything, relationship, job, project, friendship, whatever, house hunt, I don't know, baby, totally up to you. So before we dive into this, and I've already picked the other cards, so there's going to be 12 total cards, the Ace of Cups being one of the 12. So I've already picked the other 11 cards just randomly and shuffled these. So they're all shuffled and ready to go. I don't know what cards are in there or what order they're in. But I'm going to pick one card before we jump into these from this Major Arcana deck. It's by a Spanish artist. It's really beautiful. To see some sort of overarching theme that is kind of ruling over or really deeply connected to what this matter is in your life. So this is the Empress. So there's some fertility that you're either deciding what to do with what it is, or trying to manifest in general, or really trying to drop into that archetype yourself of someone that better enjoys life, finds the pleasure in life, is willing to bend to certain things, do certain things in order to get the creature comforts that you feel you rightfully deserve, Okay, let's see where the Ace of Cups falls in this reading. And we'll look at the cards sort of around it, and if there's any other cards that really pop out that we want to talk about that will tell us a lot about this matter. Let's see. Okay, so it hasn't come out in the first 6, which means this isn't a much more mature place in terms of its life cycle. So it's something that's maybe been going on, or that's been in your life for a while, or something you've been working on or towards for some time, or been involved in for some time. Last card, interesting. I like it. Okay. So to me, this is saying that you are actually sitting in a little bit of complexity around this Empress energy. There's maybe some baggage that you're dealing with at the moment around the things you've had to do to step either into this archetype or into a life that has been very fertile and abundant and comfortable. So there's maybe some shadow work you're doing around this, or might be some things that you bent your morals or ethics to get what you wanted, that you're now kind of having to face some complexity around and own up to. I honestly, and this is an incredibly the most extreme example, and I'm not saying anyone here is a criminal or has done anything criminal or anything remotely terrible to enjoy this very sensual, abundant, beautiful life, but like one news story that comes up to me where I feel like this person could probably easily pick this pile and be like, yeah, that makes sense, is the Ghislaine Maxwell and her getting her sentencing right now. You know, she lived a very luxurious life, but at the expense of a lot of others in some very, terrible ways. And so not saying you've done anything like that or done anything terrible. It's just that you're at the end of whatever this Empress energy is, and you're really having to do a little bit of shadow work and face up to the light and I don't want to make it all shadow, all bad. There's just complexity in this 12th position. So you're really having to own and witness and integrate both the light and the shadow of this path that you've been on, and surrender into a higher power at this point. There's certain complexity that's being held around this, that there's things maybe you can't solve and you're not supposed to. All you're supposed to do is acknowledge, witness, and kind of own what the light and the shadow has produced on this journey for you. And for some of you, that might be a lot more light than shadow, and for others, it might be a lot more shadow than light. But I do feel like there's some complexity playing out probably in your life right now around having had a very some aspect of your life or something in your life having felt very abundant and fertile and beautiful. The step you have just come out of, the Two of Swords in the 11th position, also giving a little indicator of, it's always fun to kind of see where we've been, is the Two of Swords. So it's likely that there has been some crossroads or a conflict you've had to face and figure out how to find some diplomacy and rise above certain conflicts, or find a certain grace and elegance within you in order to move into this place where you surrender, where you get held by the cosmos a little, and find some inspiration. And what is also coming here, and definitely worth saying, beyond having to kind of look back on a journey and hold all of the light and shadow as one, as very holistic, as very comprehensive, which brings a lot of understanding, and that understanding and that surrendering also brings a lot of beautiful inspiration for what's next. So that would be my advice, is to drop into surrender, to accept what is, to start stepping into a place of being ready to move on and opening up to new inspiration, new bubbles of which come, when you really embrace and accept the whole of something. Composition comes in, deep understanding comes in, and it really inspires a new seed, a new idea to be here. Looking at the other cards in this reading, there aren't any, really terrible, problematic cards. So my example was definitely for sure extreme. Maybe that Nine of Wands, there could have been Nine of Swords and Nine of Wands. there is an element here of like you've been maybe out of your depths, above your head in some aspect, that, you know, was attached to being able to have this Empress energy in your life or within you. In order to have that, that's maybe where some bending happened, is you had to allow yourself to get a little in over your head with certain things that brought some anxiety and brought some questioning of whether this was a path you should have taken at some point. But the other cards were really beautiful, and you're already at the end of this journey, so there's no reason to look back and regret anything. Just see it as beautiful for all of the ebbs and flows that there were, for good and bad, and really allow understanding to come in and open to some new inspiration for something different, something else next that's really bubbling inside of you. You know, where do you want to take all of this wisdom and experience you've gained into your future, into a new potential, new possibility? Okay, we're just, to end the reading, gonna get one piece of advice from Spirit, a little guidance. Whoops, well, 2 cards flew out, so we'll just take them. Since you're maybe in a complex place, we need extra guidance. We've got Bluebird. You are being gifted with blessings of happiness and peace. Beautiful. So that is definitely, if you're not feeling this yet, you will be soon, because that is something that comes with this last position. Once you've sort of accepted whatever is for what it is, it does just bring a certain peace in, and blessings. So that's a beautiful card to come out. And then Eagle, you are learning all aspects of spiritual connection and reaching new heights. Yeah, I think the complexity that you're holding right now, and that you've learned to hold and had to hold, is giving you a lot of vision and a lot of understanding of what heights you are able to reach in your life, and maybe a new height next. What's the new peak you're kind of looking towards? All right, beautiful reading, pile 2. This is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, definitely a thumbs up is the easiest way to support my channel. And definitely subscribe if you are not yet. And I always love reading little comments as well. All right, I'll see you guys later. Hello, pile 3, and welcome to your reading, where we're going to look at some matter in your life, and it's up to you to choose what that is and sort of attach it to this reading. So the heart of this matter in this reading is going to be represented by the Ace of Cups. And I have already picked 11 other cards, so in total there's 12 cards in this pile, and I've already shuffled them, randomly picked them, so I have no idea which cards are in here other than the Ace of Cups, and I don't know what order they're in. And I'm going to lay all 12 out, and wherever the Ace of Cups comes out is going to indicate where in a life cycle is this matter, and what does that mean? What are some of the cards surrounding it? You know, I'll look, there might be other cards that jump out for whatever reason that feel important to talk about. But before we jump into that, I'm also going to pick one major arcana deck from this beautiful, it's just major arcana cards by this beautiful Spanish artist, to indicate some sort of a main overarching theme around what this matter pertains to, what's sort of a big influence over it that might be worth knowing or having more insight into. Okay, so the Lovers is the card that came out here. So yeah, really trying to find your deepest sense of self, your sense of belonging, how you connect with yourself, with others, and how you elevate connection in your life, and through your higher self. Like, how do you connect to your higher self, and how does your higher self elevate other connections in your life? So there's something really, I think, beautiful going on here about really tapping into your higher self, both for your own life and for others and things, and whatever this matter pertains to for you specifically. Where's like the highest place you can come from? Where's, how can you trust your third eye, your intuition, your instincts, to make everything feel, you know, like coming at this in a way that where things feel just like very aligned. So there's a certain alignment maybe you're looking for with this this matter represented by the Ace of Cups. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, I didn't do this in the first two piles, but I just felt like I needed a little extra shuffling here. Some anxiety here a little bit around whatever this is. Okay. Five of Cups, that would make sense with some anxiety. 10 of Cups is beautiful. Here, Ace of Cups. So the first pile had the Ace of Cups in the third position as well. So this is something that's fairly early on in its life cycle. Let's get everything over just a little bit more. Okay. These cards are longer than some of the others. Might have to scooch things back. Sorry, I'm a little bit finicky with everything being aligned. Which again, that's a theme for this reading. So something, yeah, it's like you're trying to align something. Let's just get the rest out before we dive in. Okay. Like the last card. All right, so it's interesting, the Ace of Cups, the heart of the matter, whatever this is, to you coming out in the third place, because that's a very Gemini placement, and I do relate the Lovers to Gemini energy, so it's just like doubling down. The heart of this matter is very Geminian, and in the life cycle you're in the Gemini phase, so definitely potentially a lot of anxiety coming through. I already just felt that in my own energy with these cards, like needing to shuffle them again. They were already shuffled. I don't know why I did that, but it was like this anxious sudden energy that came on. So I'm almost like, I just want you guys to take some breaths, like relax a little. So I want to talk about Gemini energy and this third position a little to maybe help you understand where some anxiety might be coming from, and to know why you should embrace that to a degree and what it might be about. That third position in this life cycle, the way that I read it, is a place where you are trying to find a certain sense of belonging. It's like the teenage phase of life, if you were to look at a human life cycle, where, you know, you're really figuring out where you belong, what your identity is, your there's a lot of unsurety about, you know, it's a phase in life where we kind of go through a lot of different friendships, where we there's a mutability here where you're really working to mold yourself into who you think you are, and really finding that place where you align. So whatever this matter is, at the moment, it's almost like you're really needing to better understand. I'm going to give a few of the same analogies I gave with pile one, even though I think the heart of this matter is very different. But some analogies that would match is, it's like if you as a metaphor, maybe you're trying to start a brand, but you're at that phase. You have the idea of what you want to do, what it is, and maybe you know what the product is, what the form and function of things are, but more work needs to be done on branding and understanding the market and figuring out who your customer is, what kind of employees you want, what kind of culture you want in the workplace. Like all of that identity, that branding work is needing to now be done to take the impulse and the form of whatever this is forward. So it's not quite yet to a phase to really commit to whatever this thing is and lay down some roots and put it out into the world. There's something you're still morphing and trying on, and I also relate that Gemini energy to late spring when the birds and the bees are pollinating things. So it's a time where you're, learning a lot, you're gathering a lot of information, distilling it within you, and then disseminating it and putting it out, and really figuring out how you connect with others, what kind of language you like to use, speech patterns, the way you like to relate to others. There's just a lot of work being done to figure out. There's like a lot of inner tensions, and so there's a lot of flirting and trying things on in life and experimenting to figure out how these tensions can work with each other to feel a sense of stability in something that you want to really commit to, anchor, and then grow. So it's also a very fun phase. Teenager energy is a double-edged sword. There's some anxiety there. There's some unsurety of identity. There's angst. But at the same time, it's sort of also that moment where, looking at that end of spring energy, that's when flowers blossom. That's when there's expression is at its highest. That's when neurogenesis is wildly repatterning within us, and we have a lot of intelligence. So there's a lot of intelligence to be gained in this moment. And overall, I kind of feel like that's why maybe for a lot of you, this might have something to do with like a brand or a group of friends, or maybe you're dating a lot and you haven't found the right one, or you've moved somewhere new and you're trying to find the right neighborhood. You're just trying to find where your alignment is, and this phase is really important for this, for that, getting that sense of alignment correct, because taking it forward, because of how much this third position and this Lover's card match to me, this is like the cornerstone moment of this trajectory. So looking forward in this trajectory to gain some insight on whether or not, because this third position can also come with those questions of like, is this the right path? You're not so far into something that you can't turn back or abandon ship, and tends to actually be a lot of self-doubt at this position, and a lot of waffling of whether or not this path is right for you. So looking forward in it, there are some I see nothing but beautiful cards here. This next step, once you do kind of figure out what this brand is, where those tensions harmonize, where this alignment comes in, and you have that sense of really wanting to plant some roots with this and kind of find the depth of it and the soul of it, there's a lot of financial power here, or material. It doesn't have to be financial, but a lot of material power here, a lot of suddenly really understanding your worth, a lot of movement, more material ability to kind of some self-sustainability here. And then you've got the moon and the sun here. So the moon position could bring, another little bout of insecurity or unsurety, but it also can bring a lot of intuition and imagination into things. But we've got the sun, which is one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best. And it ends with the magician. Like, there's not one single card going forward on this path that would worry me, that would make me be like, this might be something you should question if this feels right to you. I think this journey ahead is very positive, and I think you should just sort of enjoy more of this flowering birds and bees expressive time, and not worry about not being fully sure of a certain identity or belonging yet. Just flirt with life at the moment. Flirt with life in relation to what this matter is to you. Have fun with it. The more you bounce ideas off of others, get out, move, connect, the more those tensions, you're going to figure out how to harmonize whatever these tensions are, and this inability to fully commit to a specific identity, brand, person, whatever this is to you. It's all about flirting with life, having fun, trying a lot of things. So this is where I'm going to leave. Oh, no, actually, I have one more thing. I have an oracle card, little guidance from spirit, little message for you about this path and where you are at right now. Magpie. Reevaluate your priorities. It is time to let go of what you no longer need. And that's a beautiful thing to end on, because as I say that this path has beautiful stuff going forward in this trying on period, take stock of what feels right, what feels aligned to you, and what doesn't. Everything that doesn't feel aligned, give yourself permission to let go of, and really keep on cultivating every time something feels aligned, something feels resonant, something feels like it eases a tension. Start assimilating those moments, and the things that create further tension, is time to let go of those things, and that will help you get to this next step. So I think that's a beautiful piece of advice for this phase you're in. So, all right, that's where I'm going to leave you, pile 3. If this reading resonated for you, the easiest way to support me is a thumbs up. And of course, I would love it if you would subscribe if you are not yet subscribed. And I always love little comments as well. All right, see you guys. Welcome to your reading, pile 4. And this is going to be a reading where you are choosing what this is going to pertain to. And within these 12 cards, I've already kind of randomly shuffled and picked, and also shuffled with the Ace of Cups, which is going to represent whatever this matter means to you. We're going to lay all 12 of these cards out, and wherever the Ace of Cups comes up, representing your matter, will show where in a life cycle this matter is, hence sort of what's going on, what are the cards surrounding it, what does the path forward look like, whatever wants to pop out to that feels important to bring up when I'm sort of looking at the 12 cards, but specifically really focusing in on the position your card's in and what that might mean, and bring some insight into things you might be experiencing at the moment with this matter. So before we dive into those 12 cards, I'm going to pick one of these. This is just a major arcana deck from a Spanish artist that I just really love. So we're going to pick one major arcana card that's sort of going to indicate sort of a general overtone, main theme that might give some insight into this matter some sort of like overarching issue. So the Hanged Man is what has come out. So there's something that you're either trying to gain different perspective on, or something that you're holding on to too tightly and not seeing different perspectives with, or something that you are bringing a lot of different vision and evolution and like a change, bringing a changed perspective into something. So it could go either way. For some of you, it might be an unwillingness to see a different perspective, or having this gift or an ability, or this journey, this matter is about, really learning how to expand and work with perspective and flip things around and get really malleable and flexible about how you see things, hence how things can be interpreted and pushed a bit. Yeah, anyway. Okay, we'll see where things fall out. Oh, wow. Very first card is your Ace of Cups. So this is a very, very, very new thing in this very first stage. So like, I think a big question might be around, is this a path I should take, kind of thing. But let's see what else comes out here, and then we'll figure it out. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's a mixed bag here, which doesn't surprise me with the Hanged Man kind of having a bit of an influence overall over this path. What I want to say here the most is really pay attention to choices you make right now and decisions you make right now, and how connected they are to passion, instinct, independence, and what you really want for you. This is a time to put aside other people's agendas, other people's advice, other people's feelings. I hate to say it. You really need to tap into you right now to take the right steps to, this first position at sort of the threshold. You're choosing which door you're going to enter, which path, if there's like a fork in the road, which path you're going to go on. And the advice here is to not just sort of like pick one, but to wait for that moment of charge, that moment of pure impulse and instinct and drive. So when this is the path, this is the door, this is the decision, wait for those moments, those sparks. That's what I want to say here. Things you can do to help build some charge around this is to open your mind. So this is a thing where, because you're entering into something very new to you, and the Hangman is showing up as an overarching theme, I think you're entering a door that is not just sort of new, like a new grade in school. It's like you're moving to a new country, to a new school or something. Like, this is a very, very different thing. And you're going to be challenged on this path to see things differently, to push how you see things, to evolve who you are with this modern moment, and trying to have a vision of what the future could be. So you're really needing to push the way you see old constructs versus new possibility in the future. There's something going on here where you're on this cusp and this threshold of moving yourself into an evolved place that is not so comfortable, that is outside of your norms, and you're really being challenged to just look at things differently, to rewire, recalibrate a bit, which can be very, very uncomfortable. But in doing so, you find this rightness within yourself at the same time. So make yourself a little uncomfortable. Check into perspectives or areas that push up against your edges, whether it's different sort of opinions about things or a different way of, like, this could even be more techie, sort of like where you're used to playing video games on the flat screen, and now something in you is like, I really should look into virtual reality and the goggle, like where you're kind of stepping into a new realm where you're like, I don't know, like these crazy new things, but something about you is like, but I'm kind of curious. But it's pushing against your boundaries. It's pushing against how you've thought about something. And I would just say make yourself a little uncomfortable here, and all of a sudden the rightness will settle into you, and you'll know the moment to push forward. And on the path, this is definitely a growing path, and there's some really beautiful things ahead, but it's not without some challenges. Specifically in the 8th position, there's a 5 of Pentacles, and in the 11th position, there's a 3 of Swords. So there may be a moment, not shocking because of the Hanged Man, where much further into this path, you're really challenged to find different types of resources within you and deal with a sensation of scarcity. It doesn't have to be around money, but something might feel scarce because you're really being challenged to change your perspectives. And then in this 11th position, there are certain things or people or aspects of this journey and this matter that may end up disappointing you. That shouldn't be something to stop you, though. Like, sometimes we have to be let down in life to find the capacity of our sense of grace and our capacity to choose to continue and do something again, or not give up on something, but like redo it with a much more wise, compassionate, mature understanding of what's right and where boundaries are and how you're being treated and how you're treating others. There's definitely going to be a lesson around that packaged in here. But the gift behind that being let down sort of quality is just a huge maturity blossoming within you, and a knowing of how to do things much more powerfully, in a much more empowered way, and with a much more compassionate and commanding voice and boundaries and stuff. So I don't think this 3 of Swords showing up late in the reading should be something to be worrisome, because the card right after it is really beautiful, the 2 of Wands, which is about, at the end of whatever this is, you create an opening to, like, I almost feel like this path, this journey is all about, I feel like for a lot of you, this is a transitory journey. This is a journey between journeys. It's like the gap between one chapter and the next, where you're really having to like recalibrate something. And by doing that, by going on this gap year journey, is what I'm going to call it, you end up recalibrating yourself, rewiring yourself, gaining the perspective and the updates you need to get you to certain doors you do not have access to right now, that are very powerful and very fortuitous and very aligned and beautiful. So it's worth going through this somewhat uncomfortable journey, but I feel like it's a blip. I feel like it's, you know, it may feel tough, it may not feel like a blip to you, but it really is. It's a gap year kind of feeling to me, where, yeah, you're just updating, evolving, recalibrating, needing to rewire something in you. And by doing so, you will find yourself at certain doors you won't have access to unless you do this work. So that's up to you. Like, how bad do you want access to certain things that you sort of sense could be possible, but don't quite know how to get to? Stick with this path that you're kicking a foot into at the moment. Okay, so to end this reading, I want to pull just one guidance, message from Spirit, a little guidance from Spirit, sort of a pertaining to where you are on this path in general, something it wants you to know. So the dove, feel and allow a deeper sense of peace to fill you now. This is a divine quality. So this, for some of you, could be about, maybe you've had a somewhat chaotic life or energy around what this matter is in general, and this discomfort you're pushing yourself into and recalibrating around is figuring out how to live with more peace and to accept life being easier, more loving, more supportive. First, I don't know that that's for everybody, but that feels very pertinent to a lot of you. That it's funny because I was getting more of this like techie feeling of like pushing how you are relating to maybe the future and your position in the future, but I think something else is coming through for a lot of you. If that tech thing doesn't hit, or something about the future doesn't hit, it's like the universe really wants you to completely change your perspective about how peaceful, calm, supportive, and easy life should be. And you need sort of this gap year, this gap moment. Maybe it's a gap month, I don't know, to figure this out, to live in a very different way than you're used to living, and trying that on, and putting one foot in it, and seeing how you can center yourself in it, and how you can find a sense of comfort in relation to yourself and ease. It's like completely rewiring your sense of self, who you are, what drives you, how you feel passion in life, and how can that come from a place of letting life be easy and peaceful. Yeah, for some of you, that could be a huge thing. Okay, this is where I'm going to end your reading. Pile 4, really cool. And yeah, so if this resonated with you, the easiest way to support this new little channel of mine is a thumbs up. I definitely appreciate that. And of course, subscribe if you are not yet. I'd love to give more readings to you. And for sure, if there's anything specific or something you want to say in the comments, I love reading those. I don't get around to answering them all, but I do love checking those out and reading them. All right, I will see you guys later.